then this year, you're like, this guy's my favorite player to watch. He's my favorite player, which is hard to take the belt away from Steph for me. But when I started thinking about, like, am I actually going to pick a 22-year-old to get out of the West as the lead guy? Like, am I going to be able to do that? And, there was the clutch offense stuff in the regular season, which I think is playing out. The concerns I had about it now, I'm like, hey, this is kind of why you were, but you got to pick somebody. And we all knew that the West was just so deep at the top with all these different scenarios that could play out. But for what they did against Denver, whether it was the defense in game 2 or to come back down 20 against them in game 7, I'm like, all right, I guess it's okay. Like, I guess it's okay to go ahead and do this. And the irony of the way this series has played out is that we were wondering if Ant could deliver on all these things that are so hard to deliver on. Because the normal course, the normal timeline for NBA star is, all right, top draft pick, score a bunch of points, make some all-star games, get your sneaker deal, get the max rookie extension. And then it's like year 6 or year 7. You're like, does this guy suck? Hey, I thought this guy was supposed to be good. This guy sucks. Because most of the guys haven't won by then. And it's just like, imagine the way we talk about Giannis right now. And the funniest part about the way the storylines have played out here is that Luka actually is delivering on every expectation we've ever had for a star, especially if you were to finish this thing off and get a title at this age and with the numbers and the fact from day one that he was in the playoffs, there was never ever any doubt. Whereas when I'm watching Ant in some of these games going, maybe he's just not ready. Maybe he's just not ready yet. Maybe these are the part of the learning process going to get from all this stuff, that Luka's actually doing the things I was wondering if Ant could do. So yes, that's the long way to get to. I'm always like wondering when it's going to happen, and the fact that we almost had it last year. But I thought Boston was so much better than Miami, it made a little bit more sense. Right. I'm still going to be worried about Minnesota's closing prowess, where really I don't know that it was that they were killing it on offense as much as Dallas just couldn't hit a shot for the first time in the series. So it's probably because I picked them that I'm leaving the sliver of hope, but I don't really believe it.
This is my question I was going to ask you, having played in a lot of game 7s, and you look at how close the series is.
6 game 7s.
6 game 7s.
I guess that's a lot.
That's a lot. I would say that definitely.
What's this question for again?
This is not for you.
Oh, okay.
Why has this not happened?
Oh, man, do you remember the stat around how many teams have actually forced a game 7? Obviously, Boston did last year.
Yeah.
Was Boston the first to ever do it? Or maybe the second or third? Like, I feel like that's the reason why.
It's getting back
to a
up
game
to the 7. Yeah.
And honestly, Minnesota, because of how this whole thing played out, in some ways they're set up because they get the game 7 at home. So it's similar to when we lost to the Houston Rockets, being up 3-1, right? We have to go back. Game 5's in Houston. Okay. Now game 6, it's on us because none of us wanted to go back to Houston for a 1-game situation where anything can happen. So yeah, it's in some ways it's set up to get back to that game 7 if they can, of course, take care of business.